Well, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Amazing Seller Podcast. This is episode number 723, and today, you guessed it, if you can hear a difference in the tone out here, or the water, or the what else is out here, the bugs, I'm outside. I'm out by the pool again, and I wanted to record this episode, well, because it's such a beautiful day, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be super busy here come about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I'm actually busy right now planning and prepping for our upcoming event, Brand Accelerator Live. So I've decided today is going to be a batch recording day so I can make sure that I get these episodes recorded so you can have these while I am head down focusing on the event or at the event and delivering the value that I plan on delivering there and all of the amazing people there at Brand Accelerator Live. So if you're coming, I can't wait to see you. If you're not coming, well, maybe next year. But if you want to potentially grab the virtual pass, the recordings of the event, you can head over to baltickets.com, depending on when you're listening to this. If you're listening to this at the time that this airs on the 11th of September, you may go to that page and just see that there's no tickets available, and that's because we did close ticket sales down on the 6th because we had to have a final head count. And so I'm sorry if you missed out. But you can go there and get more information about the event if you're at all interested in seeing that or possibly attending one in the future. So today's episode, what I wanted to do is I wanted to pull back another episode and kind of go back a little bit in time, not far. It was actually 717 that I did with Dawn from The Cat in the Box. And I got a really good response from that. But not just that one. I get a really good response whenever I do more or less an interview, but I also do a coaching call or a strategy call. And a lot of you have said, Scott, I love them because it's different, it's unique, and I would love to do more of them. So again, if you want to share your story with me, and if you want to potentially come on the podcast and we can do one of these, well, I'll need you to tell me your story. So you can head over to theamazingseller.com/story, and you can do it right there. Or if you just want to share your story and say hi, you can go there as well. That's my voicemail recording tool there that we use. And just leave your name and all that stuff there as well. So I wanted to call back this episode because it was a really good episode. And if you missed it, you're going to want to go and check that out. That's theamazingseller.com/717. Okay. And we went really deep into her business, how she got started, where the idea even came from, the market that she's in. And then I started to get creative. I started to do what I do whenever I'm sitting down having these conversations with someone that is building a business. And usually these ideas just start to come as I'm hearing more of the story. Now, Dawn was also a contestant on the 5-Minute Pitch, which was our show that we did here a few months back, and she was one of the finalists, one of the runner-ups, and great business, loved the business, but I seen a lot more opportunity that she wasn't tapping into, and it's really what I call the hybrid model. It's the hybrid strategy of where we can take a physical product business, and then we can bolt on a content part of the business where we can add some digital assets to the business and really start to develop traffic through content, email list building, and all of that stuff. And that's really what we identified here. And once I did that with her, she was like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I didn't think of that. I was just thinking I'm going to start the business. I'm going to start with a product. Once I get the product up and running, I'm going to try to sell it. That's pretty much how a lot of e-commerce people are taught, but they're also, that's the way that they kind of, go on with their business once they get it started. They're like, okay, I'm building a product that's going to serve this market one way, and I'm just going to now find ways that I can get it in front of more people so they can buy it, right? And so when I started to hear within her market, I know that the cat market is massive. The pet market is massive, okay? But she's going at it at a little bit of a different angle. She's creating these boxes that are environmentally friendly. They're creative looking, but there's some challenges with that product. It's a large box, and you need to be able to ship that large box or have it be, compacted to where it's not as big, but it's still big. And so there's some struggles and some back and forth, and she's done a really great job at getting this thing to market, but her sales have been slow. And so I'm like, okay, so all of this time that you're focusing on development of the product and getting it better, and so it can ship cheaper and all of these things, and you're slightly marketing it the best that you can, the best that way you know how. But some of these things take time because you have to wait for the manufacturer to come back with a design, tweak, and then you have to come back with yours, and back and forth, right? Not to mention, you got to buy more inventory, so you might be strapped for cash, and you're like, well, I can't buy a certain number yet, so I'm going to wait. I'm just going to sell through these. So all of these things are happening while the business is kind of sitting at a standstill in a sense as far as growth goes, right? Because you can't market the product if you don't have the product, or you don't want to market the product 100% because you have a new one coming in and it's going to be a newer version or whatever, right? So I'm hearing all this from her, and I'm like, wait a minute here. Are you creating any content for your market? Because your market needs content. It's always searching for content, right? And I'm like, what if you didn't even have a product? Let's just pretend like you didn't even have a product and you were starting over from scratch. Could you educate the market on being a cat owner, on adoption, on how to have a healthier cat, commonly asked questions? Could you answer those questions? She's like, oh, yeah, 100%. And she goes, and honestly, I love writing. And I'm like, wait a minute, stop, time out. You like writing? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I don't. So when I write, it's a task. So I have to hire people that can write articles for me if I'm going to be doing any type of content. Now, me, for the podcast, I just have my stuff. I have a show notes person that comes in and they do like a summary, and then I have transcripts done that's just basically verbatim of what I'm saying here, and that's it, right? Like, so I'm not necessarily a writer. Now, I do write my Friday emails, and I've gotten better at those because I've done it consistently, and I've signed up myself in my mind mentally that every single Friday I'm going to write at least one email in a week to you guys, right? So, and I've not missed that, okay? I've stuck to that for a very long time. Again, because I made a decision in my mind that I was going to stick to that. Another little side tip, you should probably create that and don't stray from that. Treat it as a job. It's something you have to do. You have to show up for. Do it. Okay. It's one little hack there for you. Okay. Just mentally sign up for it. All right. So talking with Dawn, I'm learning more about her and her strengths. And she's like, oh, yeah, I love writing. I would love to write more. And I'm like, well, do you realize that if you write content, you publish it on your blog and your website, that eventually there will be traffic that will start to come organically from Google? And she's like, yeah, I didn't really think of it that way. I just thought you'd write content and whoever you have that you can connect with, they would see it. And I'm like, no, you need to think about this like you're building these little mini assets, these little seeds that you're planting. And I just did an Instagram thing the other day about the Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. Well, the same thing with that. Like every single seed that you plant today can grow. And, 20 years is a long time, but even a year from now, look at what that can do. And if you sign up for it mentally in your head that you're going to create one piece of content per week, that's 52 pieces of content. And so when I was telling her this, she's like, wow, this just makes so much sense. I want to do this. And I'm like, okay. I want you to do it as well, but let's talk about the benefits, but then let's talk about also what I want you to be doing as far as the content strategy goes, okay? Because there's different types of content, okay? And there's content that is product-based, and then there's content that is informational-based, whatever that is. So I want to give you guys what I was describing to her, and I'll give you some examples here too. I have my laptop out here by the pool, and I can search through, and I've got a couple things up here that I'll share with you, and some different things that you can think about for content that you're possibly going to be creating, which, again, if you're not thinking about your business as a hybrid model, you should, right? If you're starting right now and you're starting from scratch and you're like, I don't know the product. I keep going back and forth with these 3 different products and I'm not sure which one. And I don't know if I should launch this. And I don't have enough money to do the 1,000 that they want me to, and yada, yada, yada. Then just pause that for a minute. Understand the market that you're serving and then go the content route. Let's start building content for the next 6 to 12 months consistently. All right. And if you do that, you're going to build momentum there and you can monetize that traffic. And you can leverage that. I mean, I just got off with a gentleman that, and he'll be coming on the podcast here. I don't want to give too much away, but we were talking about buying and selling websites, and he said flat out, content sites sell faster, and they sell for generally even sometimes a little bit more. there's less risk in the content side of things, because once you create this, there's not a lot of maintenance that has to happen other than just keep your content flowing. When you have writers, it makes it easier. Or if you're the writer, you can manage that. But there's less risk because you don't have the supply chain. You don't have all of that other stuff. Now, I'm not saying don't do the product side. I think you should. Actually, Alex from Travel Fashion Girl, who will be speaking at Brand Accelerator Live, she's also done a very good job at this. She built the content side over the past 5.5, 6 years, and she just launched her first 3 physical products on top of that brand now, and kind of bolted it on. She's done that over the past 1.5 years. And she's added, and I haven't checked in with her, she'll be telling us at Brand Accelerator Live, but she's added another $13,000 to $15,000 net monthly, okay, from doing that. Okay, so again, you can start either way you want. And this really didn't become clear to me until I started seeing the shift in the market of people just starting to launch products on Amazon, and that was their business model. Once I seen this shift happening a couple years ago, that's where you started to see me talk really more directing my efforts and hopefully your efforts towards building like a hybrid. And I'm calling it a hybrid now, but I wasn't calling it then because it's come full circle for me. Like, I've been doing content marketing for years and building email lists for years. And now that the market is shifting and there's so much competition, how do we create a brand that could also leverage a platform like Amazon without worrying so much about the competition? And this is the way to do it. So again, my idea for her was develop your products as you are, and you can do it slowly. You don't have to be in a rush because it's going to be slow anyway if you're going back and forth, okay? But what I want you to be doing in the meantime is I want you to be identifying other products that you might not even private label right now. You might not even create your own brand version of those, and that's okay. What I want you to do is identify some of those products that your cat market is buying right now, right? If they're buying a box, they might be buying those carpet trees, right? They might be buying other toys, or I don't even know if they make this, but maybe a cat sofa, right? Like, they might be a cat bed, a cat litter box, like all of these different things. Why don't you go identify them? And then what you can do is you can start to write articles about these different products. And a great way to do this is like best cat litter boxes 2019, best cat trees 2019, whatever the keyword is, best. And then, because people are going to be searching that, what's the best cat litter box that doesn't stink or something? You know what I mean? Like, or odor free or something, right? So if you do a bunch of these are also buyer intent based. What do I mean by that? They're searching to buy something, just like if they go to Amazon. So if you have that content that comes through with a Google search, they come to your blog, you educate them, you now can have a link in there that points over to the affiliate product that you're promoting inside of that blog post. Then this is where it gets really interesting. We're building our email list, which we'll talk about here in a minute. We're constantly building the email list. From there, we're going to also let the email list know, hey, we just published Best Cat Litter Boxes 2019 guide. Go check it out. That directs them to the blog. On the blog, we can have our affiliate links there. Now, a little side note, you cannot put an affiliate link to an Amazon product in an email. It's against terms of service. They do not allow you to do that. And if you do that, well, you can get your privileges banned from Amazon once again. So don't do it. And your email provider a lot of times doesn't want you to do that either. So just always embed it into a blog post. And there's a lot of benefits to that, right? You created an asset that lives on your blog or your website, and now you're going to get search traffic from that as well, right? Through Google over time. It comes over to your blog. You educate them. They get to know, like, and trust your brand, your voice. And then from there, they're going to click over to the Amazon listing, and then boom, you would get a sale. If you get a sale, you get paid commission. Now, here's the other cool, interesting thing. As you do this, you're going to probably start to identify products that are selling through your content. Well, guess what? Now you've got real data on your site that's already converting to a sale that you might be getting 6% or 8% commission. Well, if you want to create your own version of this down the line, you can. And that's exactly what Alex did from Travel Fashion Girl. She's seen that packing cubes were selling really well, so she created her own version. And now she's selling a crap ton of those. All right? So Again, I'm just trying to get you to understand the power of doing this hybrid model, but also Dawn has done this. Now, I will say, the minute that we got done with our recording, now, Dawn, if you are listening to this, I was amazed at how fast that you took action, okay? But I am going to say this, and I'm going to call Dawn out here out of love, okay, because I love you, Dawn. You attacked it. You went right out of there, and you created an article almost immediately the next day. But since then, it's been a couple of weeks, I haven't seen a new article yet, okay? Now, Dawn, like a lot of people, get excited, but then they fail to continue to take the action. So I want to nudge Dawn right now. Dawn, if you're listening, and I will message you privately anyway, I want you to consistently put out content. Constantly, okay? The more, the better, okay? The more seeds we plant, the better chance we get the crop to grow, okay? So I want you to sign up internally. Mentally, that is part of your business. Okay? And eventually you might have a content division. That content division is just going to be pumping out content that educates your market, that leads people into your brand. Okay? Now here's the other thing I want you to think about. As you're creating this content and you're striving to get traffic, you can, like I just shared with you, you can turn that into money very quickly by putting affiliate products in there. But here's the other thing that you can do. And we're doing it right now in our brand that we're working with right now, okay, that I'm partnered with, is the traffic, the impressions turn into money. And here's what I mean. There's ad networks out there. There's Mediavine. There is AdThrive. Those are two of the major players. There's AdSense, obviously. But AdThrive is like the top in my book right now, okay? And when you start getting impressions, okay, to, the tune of whether it's 5,000, I think you can sign up for Ezoic, I think it is. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's one. I think they're either 5 or 10,000. I might be wrong on that. So that's one you could get started with. There's another one that's Mediavine. They're 25,000 impressions. And then there's AdThrive, which they're 100,000 impressions, I believe, okay? But once you get to that level, you can then allow ads to be displayed on your blog, and you get to control where and what types of ads are put on there. And they want to make sure that they're relevant to your audience. And here's the deal. If you get, I'm just going to use a number here. If you get 50,000 impressions a month, which I'm telling you right now, impressions is not even uniques. Uniques is like, let's say that you get 25,000 uniques. That's 25,000 unique people, but they visit 2 pages. That's 50,000 impressions. Okay, so if that happens, you get paid per impression, per 1,000, and depending on the network, it could be $5 or it could be up to $15. So do the math, right? Realistically, 50,000 impressions could turn into $2,500 per month, recurring, and that could be low. You could do more than that. 100,000 could be 2,500. It could be 5,000. It depends on the market, and it depends on, the different advertisers that are in that network. But I'm just here to tell you that if you just produce the content, if all you did was produce the content over the next year, and you were able to get 25,000 impressions, let's say you started with Mediavine, you might be at, $800, $1,000 per month just from the traffic. That's not to mention any of those articles that you've published that now have affiliate links that are leading them over to your affiliate associate link in those products. That can turn into additional revenue. And then the back end of that is anyone, and a lot of people don't know this, when you drive people over to Amazon through an affiliate link from your blog and you're cookied now, you're tracked, anything that's in their cart, you get rewarded for, you get compensated for. So if they have a $1,300 sofa in their cart that they haven't checked out yet, and they check out within that 24 hours, you get paid for it. So think about fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, if you've got a good size email list, I'm saying even 1,000 people, and then you drive them over to your blog post, which talks about, 5 best presents for cat lovers, right? And then they go over there and then they see these different products, and then they click on one of those products. They go over to Amazon. They probably got other products that they've been searching for randomly, or maybe their wife or their husband, and they filled up their cart. And maybe that day they check out and they've got $5,000 in their shopping cart. You're going to get compensated for that. Okay, so just understand there's so much on the back end of doing this. And we haven't even talked about your physical product yet. We haven't even talked about it, right? So that, to me, is the hybrid model. And a lot of people aren't doing this, okay? So no matter if you're at the beginning stage and you're like, I don't know because I want to pick my first product, but I'm not sure, pause that, go on to the content side of things. Obviously, you need to know what side of the content that you can start building, or if you even can. And this is where I would give you my resource, and it does cost $4.99. So I'll just be upfront with you on this, but it's well worth it. And you can go to ecombizbook.com, ecombizbook.com, and that will give you a full validation process. And also it'll identify these different areas in your market where you can create content, but also opportunities where you can have affiliate deals, maybe even digital affiliate deals over at ClickBank or JVZoo or any of these other networks. So I would recommend checking out ecombizbook.com, and you would buy me a cup of coffee, and I would appreciate it. You guys know how much I love coffee. All right? And today I'm actually having one out here by the pool, even though it's hot, but it's morning, so it goes well with a morning breeze, a little sun, a little coffee. Life is good. All right, so moving on. And again, I wanted to just record this to bring the attention back to that episode. So again, if you didn't listen to that episode, listen to it. A lot of people loved it. Got a lot of great value from just listening to that one episode, but I wanted to kind of clarify a few things and almost give you guys an action plan that you can go out there and start to think about. So again, identify these niche-specific products. Start writing articles, best of, or best, like I said, litter box 2019, whatever, right? 2020. The other one is this versus this. So you might see that there's a popular brand and then there's another popular brand that have a similar product, and you might do that. You see this a lot with like camera shootouts in like the popular the photography magazines. I think there was like Popular Mechanics also does a lot of that stuff. But it's like this versus this, right? Certain models, or the digital SLR shootout. Best digital SLR 2019, something like that, right? It's like that. Those do really well. And then on social, they do very well, okay? And then you get some shares and you do all that, okay? Now, the other one is question-based content. And I like starting this query with like can or do, okay? So an example of this would be, and I kind of pulled this up so I can give you one, like, do cats like to be bathed? Like, that's a question, right? And there's actually an article here that says, how often should I bathe my cat? So that's another question, right? And then there's a person that posted an article here, and it's first, if they're getting results. That one there, I'm trying to see here. Well, this one here, how to bathe a cat with fleas. That's another one. That gets 480 searches per month. Are you supposed to give cats baths? 320. How to give a cat a bath that hates water? 320 searches a month. How often do cats bathe? 30 searches a month. Now, you might say 30 searches a month. I wouldn't go 100% by this data. This data is coming in by Keywords Everywhere, which is a free tool. You can grab it. I'm not associated with them by being an affiliate or anything like that. But it's a great little tool, and I have it just as a plugin on my Chrome browser, and it just gives me an estimate of kind of like what numbers look like. Why do cats hate dogs? Can you bathe a kitten? Flea bath for kittens? Like, all these things come up. But just in Google, if you do that search, you're going to also see that it's going to have auto suggest. And sorry about that plane going over, guys. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's pretty loud. Do cats like baths? That's one. How often should you wash your indoor cat? What can I use to wash my cat? How do you bathe a cat with fleas? So all of those are potential articles. And I wouldn't take those and put them all into one article. I'd make separate articles that addressed each one of those. Now, one little note, I would keep those articles at about 1,500 words minimum. Okay, these are just simple posts. They talk about the answer to the question, but then they go into a lot about why you're answering it this way. Or so in this case, like, do cats like baths? And you have to be like, so the one question I had when I first got a cat was, do cats like to be bathed? Well, it's a great question. So I did some research, and the answer is yes, they actually don't mind it. Now, there's a few things you need to know about when you give a cat a bath. So here's a few tips, right? And then the reason why you do want to bathe your cat is because you want to make sure that, you have a clean cat so they don't get fleas or so they don't have dander, or you don't want to overwash your cat, and here's why. And different skin types, different breeds. Like, you can go into all of that stuff in that post, but you want to answer that question immediately. So that's one thing, okay? And again, you're answering a question, okay? Now, one that Dawn did immediately, which I loved, and I don't even know how she came up with this, but why does my cat chatter his teeth? All right? So I'm just going to look real quick here on the fly and see what kind of searches that even gets. Now, immediately, let's see. Why does cat chatter teeth? Okay. So with that there, let's see what comes up. Okay. Now, that one there, it doesn't get a ton. Okay. So I might not have started with that one, but I guess that one there is something that she's probably been asked in the future and stuff and wanted to address it. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. If your market wants, or is looking for that, you should put it up on your blog, because you are a resource. Okay. So one here is, let's see here. Okay. So cat teeth chattering and drooling. So that wasn't like a direct question. Now here's one. Is it normal for cats to grind their teeth? Right. And her subject in blog post title was, why does my cat chatter her teeth? Okay. So, or his teeth. So I'm not against that. I think that's great, because you know what? You're going to get traffic. You're going to get traffic from that. Whether it's 50 searches a month, 100 searches a month, or 1,000 searches a month, that will relate in searches and people coming to your website and your blog. So I give Dawn a round of applause that immediately she got excited and went out there and wrote that post. But this happens a lot to a lot of people, is we get excited about stuff. We do it for a couple days or a week, and then we give up. It's like the same thing with like fitness, right? We get all excited first of the year. We set these goals. We show up to the gym is full, and then within a month, the gym is empty, right? It's the same idea. So I really want you guys to commit to doing this. If you think this is something that you'd be interested in, if this sounds like something that you would like to build out over the next 6 to 8 to 12 months, and then once you do, you're going to start to see that traffic start trickling in, and then the snowball will start to happen. The other thing I just want to share with you really quickly is the email list build. It's so important that we build a list. And I'm not going to go into all the different ways to do it, but if you guys have not went through our free training on that, Chris Schaefer and I did a free workshop where we break down exactly how to build a list. Actually, a list to 1,000 subscribers in 30 days. And we actually did, I believe the case study was over 7,000 emails that we did. And we continually do this in the businesses that we operate in. And I mean, including, The Amazing Seller. I mean, I'm constantly building that list of people that are the right people for who I want to speak to. And that's what you should be doing as well. Because here's the deal. If you build this list, you're able to communicate with them. So again, theamazingseller.com/build list. Theamazingseller.com/build list. Now we go over how to do it, but then we also go through the strategy behind it, but then also the different pieces that you'll need to understand. And there's not a lot. It's pretty simple. It can be complicated, but it's really simple if you keep it simple and if you have one goal in mind, and that is to build a list of targeted people that you want to communicate with, they want to hear from you, and then you send them relevant content. And even in the beginning, if you're just starting, you don't have a lot of content, you can just share other people's content. You're just like a producer, right? You're like a curator of content and useful content, okay? But the email list is a critical part, because if you're building the email list, building your content, well, then it's pretty easy then to get traffic over to those new articles that you're writing. And then that could also get them a little bit extra attention on social, and those people might share it. And, you get where I'm going there. It's going to allow it to be amplified. Also, you could directly get sales, because when you're driving those people over there and you have affiliate offers, you can immediately start to get people that are going to go through those affiliate links. And the cool thing is with email, you can generally track what links they're clicking on in that email. So if you see that if you gave them 2 or 3 different blog posts that you wrote about, you can see which one resonated with them. So you can do a lot of testing there and see what content they really like. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up because I can keep going here. And I wanted to just give you guys the play-by-play on what we talked about with Dawn, but really what you can start to think about in your business. And I really want you to consider this hybrid strategy, all right? Because to me, this is how you build a brand. This is how you can get attention outside of just trying to sell your product. So many people are just trying to focus on selling the product. They're not focusing on the 95% of the people that aren't searching to buy a product, but are still the people that are potentially interested in your products or the things that you recommend. And if you do this consistently over time, you're going to build assets. And I know this for a fact. I spoke to many people that are brokers that buy and sell websites, and all of them say, if you can build external channels that aren't dependent on a single channel, your value goes up. And also, if you add on this content side or the digital side of things, where you have traffic coming in, you have an email list, it lessens the risk on the business, and that will also drive up that evaluation. So just keep that in mind. These are skill sets that we're building, guys. These are skill sets that we're building. So over time, you have these, and you'll never lose them. And when you move on to the next thing and you pivot, or whatever, like I have done over the years, right? Started in construction, went into photography, started building a list in my photography business way back when there wasn't even autoresponders. And from there, learned about autoresponders and Aweber, and then started learning that, and then started learning about how to write better emails, like all of that stuff. I'm still using it today. It's a skill set that I'll never, ever lose, and I'm constantly using it. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, so again, little reminder here, Brand Accelerator Live is coming up. I am super excited. If you guys are attending, I am stoked to be hanging out with you. Can't wait. And if you're not attending, well, I've got some good news for you. If you would like to grab the virtual ticket or the recordings, for information on that, you can head over to baltickets.com. Again, that's baltickets.com. Depending on when you're listening to this, you'll either see maybe a wait list there for when we do release them, or you'll see them live there where you can grab them. So definitely check that out. You'll also probably see there, depending on when you're listening to it, more information about the upcoming new Brand Accelerator Live for 2020, which is crazy to even say. So we'll have more details on that. So that'll be the place that you'll want to go. All right. And that will just be redirected to that page. All right. And then the show notes of this episode can be found at theamazingseller.com/723. And listen to 717 as well. I'll link that all up inside of there. And this here was fun. I love going through this, and I would love to do more of these. So again, if you want to share your story, if you want to jump on one of these strategy sessions, share your story and go over it publicly on the podcast, reach out to me at theamazingseller.com/story and record a little message there. Let me know a little bit about your business and what you'd like to get from one of these strategy sessions. And I'd be more than happy to consider it and possibly do this for you and air it on an upcoming podcast. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, remember, I'm here for you. I believe in you, and I am rooting for you. But you have to. Come on. Say it with me. Say it loud. Say it proud. Take action. Have an awesome, amazing day. And I'll see you right back here on the next episode.